Hello everyone. New week, new element, and this is the element of water. And with water, I get to decide and choose a random topic that I just want to talk about. And in this instance, what's been coming up is the topic of depression. What is depression? What does it mean to me? What is depression to me? And I want to just share insight on what it means to me, how you can take yourself out of depression, and why at times we even place ourselves in those moments, in those extremes. So again, everything is just my own viewpoints on these things. You may agree with these things, you may not. Doesn't matter. The whole purpose of this channel is to create archives of things that I feel inspired to share. So with that being said, I've been seeing a lot of different things coming up on my Facebook feeds of people going through depression. I myself have dealt with depression a lot in the past, and it's an interesting emotion to feel. It's an interesting space to be in. The most extreme time I've ever had depression was when I went through a breakup, and it actually set me on the path of spirituality, of meditation. And I was at a very low point in life, and I had a lot of suicidal thoughts during that time. And I didn't know what I wanted to do. Yeah, I had the thoughts, but I didn't want to actually act on them because there's so much more to do. Like there's just so much more to do in this life. And I started hearing certain voices guiding me. It was a woman's voice. And this woman just basically told me to meditate. And I had never meditated before. And by meditating and by having a plant medicine called Kava, or Kava, Kava, I was able in that moment, in those instances, to take myself out of depression. So I know depression very well, and I go in and out of it myself, and it's an interesting space to navigate. For me, and what I've noticed with depression, it's usually comes up when things aren't going the way that you want it to go. It usually happens when you're angry about a situation or an outcome and how it ended up, and it wasn't to your expectation. And now you're sitting with that fucking anger, and you're internalizing the anger, but you're not addressing your anger. You're just angry, and that starts to fester, and it starts to create this like pit. And there you are, still not making a decision to address the anger. Rather, you just kind of shut down. You shut off everything. You don't want to hang out with anyone. You don't want to be in anyone's presence. And the ways that I've learned to pull myself out of those instances has been Kava, meditation, feeling my anger, like doing the controlled rage fits that I've learned through the Light Beings community. And I actually have a video on spirit at the bottom of the channel on how to do that. Because most people, once they finally feel their anger and you allow yourself to fucking be in it, and be in it for a few moments, like let your ego come out for a few moments. It's okay. It's not going to overtake you. Let your anger come up, feel it to the fullest extent, and then come back to your breath. Close the eyes, slow the breath down, slow the pattern down. By doing that, you're breaking the pattern, and you're allowing yourself to feel all that subsided anger that you've been holding into yourself. And it's been a way that I've learned to take myself out of depression. Another way that I've learned to take myself out of these depression as well is body movement. Move your body. Dance for 10 minutes. That's also a practice from the Light Beings community. I have a video on my channel on ecstatic dance. Move your body. Be silly. Like, there's so much energy in our body that wants to be expressed, that wants to be felt. Like even as I'm doing this, I don't know if you could see, but the hairs on my arms are standing up now because I'm getting my everything circulating. And anytime I do something that my body enjoys or my body likes, maybe I say something out loud, I'll get these tingly sensations. I'll get the hairs on my arms to stand up. It's like a communications device. All you have to do is just listen. Just listen to your body. You can even ask yourself internally, why am I depressed? And then more than likely, you're gonna say, I'm fucking angry. I'm angry at this. I'm angry at how things ended. I'm angry that I didn't make a different decision, or I'm angry at whatever it is that may come up. Address your anger. Feel your fucking anger. It's okay. It's okay to be angry. I know a lot of different philosophies out there say, don't feel your anger. No, you gotta bottle that in. Turn your anger into something else. Don't feel your anger. I call bullshit on that. The reason I call bullshit on that is because if you shut out one emotion, you're basically telling all other emotions that they're not valid either. And you're telling anger specifically that it's not valid. Yes, there are certain ways to harness your anger and to not hurt other people or objects or things. I was even in a relationship with someone who did not understand how to process their anger. And I'm so grateful for that mirror that I had, because it really brought me back to my childhood when my dad would be physically abusive to me and my mother. And it allowed me to process certain things from that. So the reason why I'm mentioning that is just there's constructive ways to feel your anger. You don't have to hurt anyone. You don't have to break anything. You can scream into a pillow and be fucking angry. You can get a Nerf bat and hit a fucking couch and just let it out. It wants to be felt. It wants to be acknowledged. All of your emotions are valid. Every single one of them. And it wants your attention. And every time you shut out an emotion, it's creating these thought forms in the ethers, in the astral world, that it just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And every time it gets bigger, it's creating a cycle, a loop. So now you're going to create an experience that you feel anger again. And it's even more so not even geared towards what your original anger was geared towards. Maybe you'll get angry at someone that cut you off in traffic. You're like, fucking asshole. Or someone makes a mistake on your order, making food, and you just unleash everything on them when it was perfectly fine. It was a mistake, you know? The other things that I've learned for depression is there's an imbalance in some ways in the chemicals in your brain. So there's a substance, or there's a thing that you can take called 5-HTP. It's made from, I believe, it's called Griffinola. Hang on, 5-HTP. It is made from a Griffinola something. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not able to find it. Hang on. 5-HTP. Source. Well, you can get it from milk, potatoes. I didn't know that. But I take 5-HTP at nighttime. You don't have to take it all the time. But by taking 5-HTP, it creates different chemicals so that you can rebuild your serotonin and you can rebuild your dopamine. There's an imbalance in that area of your brain as well. And all of that is just symptoms of your emotional state. And I say symptoms because you're not addressing the actual emotion. If you address the emotion behind why you're even depressed and you address it, all of the symptoms go away, meaning your imbalance in serotonin and dopamine will subside. Everything starts internally. It doesn't start externally. The external reality is just a side effect of the things that are going on in your mind. And when you don't address certain things over a period of time, because you're not actually paying attention to it, an illness will begin to rise up. You're not addressing certain emotions, illnesses will come up. And that's my opinion of what happens when you do get sick. When you get sick, you're creating a physical thing now to process the emotional states. And it's something to look at. So if the chemicals in your brain are becoming imbalanced, it's a side effect that you're not addressing your anger, or you're not addressing some sadness that's coming up. And typically what happens when you are in a depressed state and you either move your body or you allow yourself to feel your anger, knowing that it's not going to overtake you, the next two things that will happen after that is either you'll start to laugh because of how ridiculous it's been that you've held on to that anger for so fucking long, or the second thing, you'll start to cry and just tears will start coming down and you're just like, oh, it's like a complete release. It's a reset. Those tears, that water in your tears, this is my opinion, that water in your tears is like the different memories that correlate to those specific experiences that you had, and you're releasing them. You're releasing those particular memories out of your computer, the system that you have, and it's kind of like a USB. So you're reformatting certain instances so that when you drink new water, you can place new experiences in that spot. And that's what I feel crying is. Crying is a very awesome tool. I read something that there was a pope, I forgot what pope it was, but every day he would cry, purposely, because he wanted to like continually to feel that and circulate that through his body. So I guess I could keep this video relatively short. That depression, and again, this is from the Light Beings community, and I've resonated with this and it's applied to me, that depression is anger turned inwards. You're angry about something and you're taking it out on yourself, and you're internalizing it so much that you don't actually want to address it. But if you took the time and you really just looked at yourself in the mirror and you talked to yourself and you said, what are you so angry about? What's going on? I promise you, you'll get an answer. So this is for anyone who's ever experienced depression, anyone who is currently in a depressed state. What are you so fucking angry about? Feel it. Allow yourself to feel it. It wants to be felt. It wants to be held. It wants to be acknowledged. Love angry version of yourself. Love sad version of yourself. Love all versions of yourself. So, to reiterate everything, Kava, if you've never had Kava, go and find a Kava bar. It's non-alcoholic. It is a natural antidepressant. It'll help you work through things. 5-HTP, mirror work, address your anger, feel your anger. And I promise you, by doing those things, depression will start to subside, and move the body. Because if you don't move the body, you're allowing stagnant energy or stagnant things to just stay there. You want to remain in stagnicity. So by moving the body, you're telling everything else, all right, it's time for me to face these things. It's time for me to feel these things again. Let's work through them. As difficult as it is, it's time to work through them. Move the body around, and you'll start releasing all of that, those thoughts about depression, those thoughts about harming yourself. I know how powerful those thoughts can be, how immobilizing those thoughts can be, because I've been there many times. And it pains me to see other people go through it. But I know it's part of your healing process. And I know every time that we purposely, because it's all purposeful, I know every time that we purposely put ourselves in a depressed state, we're going back into our shadow, we're going back into the darkness, so that we can shine light on things that we otherwise wouldn't be able to. So it's a way of like really processing emotions that we haven't allowed ourselves to. So thank you for watching this. And for anyone who's experiencing depression, please take some time to address your anger. It wants your love. Thank you. Have a good one.